right, guys, thanks for jumping on another episode of Punch Me in the Face. I have an amazing guest here today, my buddy, and he is a friend of mine, Austin Hatch. How we doing, Austin?
Awesome. Doing great, Sean. Doing great. Better than we deserve.
Amen. Well, thanks for being here. And guys, I want to give you, if you don't know Austin, number one, you should, and you will after today, obviously. You know, in this podcast, we always want to do the best that we can to be straight up, to give you information we think will actually help, to be transparent and with some humility say, hey, here's what some people have done to have success and whatever they've had success in, trials, tribulations, all that. I was sitting around one day doing some work and ESPN was on, and I'm not just to be really transparent with you, unless I bet on the games, I'm not all that engrossed in ESPN. I'm just not. Like it's fine. Some of it's entertaining. I'd rather watch, if it was the NBA, I'd watch Charles and Shaq and Kenny. I don't care what Stephen A says ever. Like, it's never of interest to me at all because he didn't play at all. It just screams a lot. So that doesn't bother me. JJ Redick talks. I'm like, that's kind of interesting because Dude played and I like hearing him. So I tend to kind of got away from it so I'm not that excited about it. But there was this, I was watching with the volume off. I'm doing some work and it was your story, Austin, on ESPN. And I don't even know what, like, I honestly, it wasn't like whatever was on the screen shook me like, oh my God, because I didn't hear anything. But I was like, I'm just turning to see what it is. Turn up. And I was very engrossed in the story, just the human story. I don't cry a lot, and maybe I should cry more, but I did cry. I was moved to tears. And I'm, I always think about that Jill Valhalla speech about it being a great day, right? And one of the things is being moved to the point of tears, and it was because of just the perseverance of you as a human being. And I quite frankly, Austin, felt very inadequate at that time. I really was like, man, I like, with the things that I go through on a daily basis, or all of us, but I was thinking about me, like, I got to have some more perspective in life and your outlook and where you are and where you talk. So, and again, this is one of the best, by the way, also, this is one of the best speakers in the country. So if you're like, man, I got a small company, big company, this is one of the best, because what he can talk to you about and teach from with his story builds any organization. We have people still to this day, Austin, that talk about, your talk at our convention. They're still blown away. I've not had one person go, well, we would have preferred to have Tom. They're like, man, he's unbelievable. We had the time to spend with you, travel and do some meetings too, a few different cities in the country. And also, where did we eat when you were like, I've never seen anybody happier to eat? It was like a Texas Roadhouse or one of those.
Totally was. Totally,
yeah, Texas Roadhouse. I mean, you would have thought we took, like, and I'm a Texas Roadhouse fan. So like, you got me, dude, I'm in. And it was just the pure joy with which you live your life. New father. So congratulations there.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
In case you're worried about any of Austin's children and their college education, it will be paid for regardless. It'll be an athletic scholarship, because he was a Division I college basketball player in Michigan. He'll tell you that story. Your wife, how many times did she play volleyball at Michigan?
Yeah.
She also played hoop.
Way better athlete than I ever was.
Well, way better athlete than most anybody ever. Like All-American. She's unbelievable. Yep. So you're going to be all right there. But can you, Austin, for everybody that may or may not know, give us your background and give us your story. And, I'll have some questions, but please, take some time because I said to Austin before, he could take one segment of his story that would be such a story of perseverance and such an inspirational story, and he could talk about it for hours. And he's very humble. But I'll never forget, we sat in a meeting one day and somebody said, did you just say like that he survived 2 fatal plane crashes? And I said, yes. And then you gave the statistic on how many people have gone through that in their lives, which is like, I didn't go to University of Michigan, so I don't even understand how infinitesimal that number is. But can you walk us through your story, bring people up to speed on who you are, and share anything you want so we get some background on you before we move forward.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for having me on, Sean. Really appreciate it. Great to connect with you again. And today I'm a husband to Abby. I'm so blessed to be married to her for 5 years. It's been an incredible 5 years of marriage. And we welcomed our first child into the world, Hudson James Hatch, on October 14th, 2022. He's 10 months on Monday, this past Monday, and he's walking all over, actually starting to run all over, which is terrifying. Can't take your eye off the little guy for a second because he's on the other side of the room and he's into all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's an amazing little guy, and I'm just very grateful, and for the blessings in my life now, and been through some things in the past that have led to some loss, some pain, some grief. But I'm about focusing on the good, right? Not ignoring the negative. No reason we shouldn't ignore what we've been through. We should, in fact, use what we've been through to shape our perspective today and give ourselves more gratitude for the moment that we're in. So, for me, back in my earlier life, I had an amazing family growing up, amazing mom, Julie, amazing older sister, Lindsay, little brother, Ian, incredible little guy. My dad, Steve, doctor, great guy. We had an amazing life growing up. And my grandparents had a home in northern Michigan. I'm from northern Indiana, Fort Wayne, small town in northeast Indiana. We were flying home from my grandparents' house Labor Day weekend, 2003. And as you're preparing to land in Fort Wayne, the airplane tragically crashed and burst into flames, took the life of my mom, Julie. She was 38 at the time, my dad's high school sweetheart. My older sister, Lindsay, she was 11. She turned 12 a week later on September 9th, but she tragically passed away in that crash. And my little brother, Ian, was killed as well. Devastating loss, obviously, incomprehensible loss. It's really the only word I think we can use. We've talked about that before, Sean. Incomprehensible is really the only word you can use there. But my dad and I found a way to keep moving forward, keep living our life. I think that's really all we can do a lot of the time when you go through anything, whether it's a devastating loss that would happen to me, or it's a challenge at work, a challenge with those you lead, those on your team, whatever it is. I think a lot of the time we just got to find a way. We got to find a way, and everybody responds to challenges differently, right? We all have our own style and how we respond to things, but I think if we just stay true to our journey, stay focused on the goal, I think we'll get through it. We'll find a way. So, my dad was remarried a couple years later to an amazing woman named Kimberly, who had 3 kids of her own. Great blended family, right? Restored some normalcy in my life for sure. Didn't replace the family that we lost tragically, but my dad and I were grateful for that, for the family, for our new family. And life was pretty good. They were my dad and second mom, Kim, were remarried a year later after they met, and it was great. Life was good, and I was working really hard on my basketball skills on the court, began to have some success. I got to be pretty good. I had to get a lot better, but I was on my way to being a decent player. And Coach Beeline, the former coach at University of Michigan, saw me play one game in high school. Had a good game, and so all I needed to see, and he offered me a scholarship to play for him June 15th, 2011. Always my dream to play for Michigan. My mom went to Michigan. My grandpas both went to Michigan. My dad spent some time at Michigan before medical school at Wake Forest. So it's been in my family for generations, right? Always a dream to play there. June 15th, the dream came true. Accepted the scholarship on the spot, and hope to have a great career at Michigan. Assuming I would have been progressed and gotten better. 9 days later, we were involved in a second plane crash. We were flying to northern Michigan this time, the same place we were returning from 8 years earlier. And my dad, Steve, second mom, Kim, were sitting in the front of the plane and were tragically killed. I was sitting in the back. This is like the one time I ever sat in the back of the plane with my dad. I never sat in the back, ever. I honestly don't think I ever sat in the back except for this one flight, which is a crazy thing. And I survived, and by the grace of God, nothing else, and had really bad injuries, about traumatic brain injury, 5 broken ribs, both lungs were punctured, fractured clavicles, hematoma in my leg, and other broken hips, other stuff too. The worst injury, though, was a massive traumatic brain injury. I mean, massive. So I know, Sean, I know you didn't go to Michigan. I didn't go to MIT either. MIT is basically the Michigan of the East Coast, right? More or less. And there's a guy there who actually studied airplane crashes, kind of how they happen, why they happen. So hopefully we can prevent them in the future for training pilots, to not make preventable errors, things like that. He calculated the odds of one individual surviving a plane crash with at least one fatality is 1 in 3.4 million. 1 in 3.4 million. So that's pretty slim. You wouldn't bet on that. At least I wouldn't. If you have a 1 in 3.4 million chance of winning, you're not going to put your money on it. But so 1 in 3.4 million is the odds of surviving one plane crash with at least one fatality. 1 in 3.4 million is the odds of surviving a second one. Right. So the odds of surviving both, again, using my Michigan education, 1 in 3.4 million times 1 in 3.4 million is 1 in 11 quadrillion, 560 trillion. That's a 17-digit number on the denominator of that fraction. So again, statistically speaking, I should not be alive. I should have been gone long ago. But when you have that, when you recognize that, and I look at where I was, where I came from, look at my life today, how can you be anything but grateful? And as we've talked about before, the quote I think I said, it's impossible to be grateful and negative at the same time. You won't ever, I highly doubt, I've never found someone who has a deep appreciation, a deep gratitude for the life they're living, for the job they have, for the opportunities they have. I've never met someone like that who at the same time is also very negative and feels sorry for themselves. Gratitude and negativity can't coexist. They're kind of opposite emotions in a way, right? Like, I think positivity and gratitude go hand in hand, whereas negativity and just not being grateful also go hand in hand. So,
well, I mean, first of all, there's a lot to unpack there, right? And again, you not only have you persevered more than anybody, like he's like, yeah, I was pretty good at basketball. Dude, you got a scholarship at the University of Michigan. You weren't pretty good. You're unfreaking believable,
I was on my way. I had a lot of work to do, but I think I was on my way.
That's why you're so successful now. You still feel the same. It's just unbelievable, the attitude you have. And, you said that to a group of us years ago. Can't be grateful and negative. And to this day, people say to me, dude, I realized I was negative and I couldn't be grateful when I was negative. It was impossible for me to be grateful. Like they could not coexist. And that stuck with me since the first day you told, I heard you say that at a meeting. Talk to us, because this part's pretty amazing. The whole thing is amazing, humbling. You're how old when you have the second plane crash?
16.
So you decide eventually that, listen, with everything that happened injury-wise, you knew you weren't going to go and compete for a starting job at the University of Michigan. Obviously, you were trying to just get back to where you could play the game of basketball, I would assume, right? Mm-hmm. How long did it take you from a healing, rehabilitation standpoint to be able to actually participate in a competitive game again? What did that look? Scrimmage, you'd be able to play basketball with other people around, and how long did that take?
Yeah, so the second accident was June 24th, 2011. I got into a competitive game when I moved to California for my senior year of high school to live with my aunt and uncle. And so I believe the date was January 20th, maybe 2014. I got into a high school game for the first time in 2.5 years. Coach called a play for me. I came off the screen, hit a three, first shot in 2.5 years. So yeah, it felt like old times, right? Felt like old times, but yeah. So yeah, it was like 2.5 years. And obviously I was not the kind of player that I once was, but it was cool for that. I think for me too, obviously it was cool to get back in the game. Felt like, man, it's nice to have this back in my life. But also I think it was kind of a moment for all those who had invested in me and supported me and helped me along the way. Not that was like mission accomplished, so to speak, but there were a lot of people, like for all my family members and close friends, who were literally spent a lot of time in the hospital with me when I was in a coma. Like, basketball was not even on the radar. Getting into a game and hitting a 3-pointer, that was light years down the road. That was no one's thought. We were just trying to get back to help me live an independent life and not be, not need people to take care of me forever. They were hoping I'd be able to live life on my terms. And Yeah, so I think it was a pretty special moment for all those who had helped me get there. And just again, I not to keep going back and saying the same thing, but I mean, if you look at where I came from, look at where I am now, and I reflect on the journey to get there, and I reflect on everybody who had a role. So many people were there for me and supported me. You can't be anything but grateful. Can't be anything but grateful.
And I think that's the other thing, like in life, you look at, I know you said you're on your way, but everybody you played high school basketball with in California, unless there's somebody I'm not aware of, when you were playing and before your second accident, you were better than they were. And then these things physically happen to you. And now you are just hoping to be able to get in the game and be able to run a little bit. And there's a lot of folks that can never, whatever it is, dude, life does this, and you've had some, and you're like, I've never seen it. I've never met anybody like you. Never. I mean, I'm just being honest. I met a lot of people
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And I mean it. You know me. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. And you look at what you persevere, but how you're still so appreciative just for everything in life, like anything that comes along. I'm a huge University of Michigan fan. Do you know why I'm a huge University of Michigan fan? Yeah,
because what Coach Beeline did for me.
Tell everybody what he did for you. Because this, like, when you told me that part, I was like, I was watching something the other day. It was about Michigan and Michigan State. It was all about the rivalry. It was on ESPN. And I think I thought this was Michigan. I was like, and I do now. I'm like, dude, now I pay attention. Like, I want football team to win, Harbaugh to win. Tell us what Coach did for you and how unusual that actually is.
So as I mentioned before, dream came true June 15th, 2011. I get the offer to play basketball for Michigan. Obviously, my goal was to go to Michigan, be a great player, help the team win, maybe play after college, who knows. But dream came true, got the offer. Committed that day on the spot, verbally, didn't sign anything. It was just a verbal commitment, which is non-binding. I could have decommitted because people commit verbally and decommit from schools all the time. Happens all the time. But so Coach's, his side of the offer was non-binding. There was nothing that said that he had to follow through on his commitment to me. I mean, he just told me, he said, Austin, I want you to come play for me in Michigan. It's cool. Like, there's no contract, nothing. Second playing grade happened 9 days later. He came to see me in the hospital in Chicago. Shirley Ryan, it's now called. It used to be called RIC, the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago. I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. There was a chance I was never going to walk ever again. There was a chance. And he told me, he said, Austin, I can't wait to have you on my team someday, brother. I can't wait to coach you. Whenever you're able to come to Michigan, I can't wait to have you on my team. He didn't know if I was ever going to walk ever again. And he was going to give me basically a $900,000 commitment over 4 years. I might not have been able to walk. Like he didn't know, but he's a no-brainer. I made a commitment to you. I'm going to follow through on it. That's just what we do at Michigan. We make promises, you make commitments, we follow through. And that's one of the things that I talk about today. Not obviously what Coach B did for me. Most people can't relate to that. Most people don't accept a scholarship to go play college sport, get in a really bad accident, get hurt, and then have a situation exactly like me. But everybody makes commitments every single day of some kind, big, small, indifferent, whatever, or has people make commitments to them every day. It happens all the time. But I know for a fact there's not that same number of commitments made that there is commitments followed through on, right? Especially when the circumstances change. Like what Coach B did for me, his commitment was like, it's a no-brainer. I didn't think twice about it. Of course I'm going to follow through. It's just what I do. And I think that from a leadership standpoint, from a team perspective, right? If everybody on our team knows that if any one of us makes a commitment to them, they're going to follow through. No, we know they're going to follow through no matter what. Maybe one person doing that's no big deal. But if all, however many agents you have now, you're like 16,000 at the annual meeting, or roughly when a couple of years ago, so maybe you're 20 now, 20,000, whatever. If all 20,000 agents make it a priority for themselves, yeah, I'm going to deliver on what I commit to every day. It's just what I do. If everybody does that every day, I feel like that can only help us win. So.
Well, and again, I think when you talk about unusual, I mean, it's a scholarship spot. You look at the money. And
it's like 800 or 900 grand over 4 years. That's a lot of money. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money.
I believe you. And I think that at the end of the day, when you look at, was there ever a time, Austin, because you're so upbeat, was there ever a time where you're like, screw it, like I'm never going to be able to pick up basketball again, and I'm not going to go to Michigan, I know that I'm not going to be able to be a player that brings value? Was there ever a time you just wanted to give up?
Yeah, for sure. For short stints, for very short periods of time. Of course, we're human. We all have those moments where we doubt things. And if we doubt it, if we have doubts, if we question ourselves whether or not we can do something, that's good. That means you're working towards something worthwhile. If you're working towards a goal and you're guaranteed to achieve it, it's probably not going to be that great. Probably not. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to build a $1 billion organization, that's hard. Like it's great. The pursuit is worthwhile, right? If you want to build, a small organization, fine. You could probably do it. You'll probably do that. But if you want whatever your goals are, right? If you want to build anything big, if you want to achieve anything hard, like you're gonna have doubts, and that's good. You should. But I kind of thought, there were times when I was like, and I don't know if I don't know, like my chances aren't really favorable. Well, if nobody's done this before, nobody's gone from a coma to playing for Michigan, someone's going to do it eventually. Mm-hmm. So why not me? Why not me? Right. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, but like we never lose anything by going all in, by giving it everything we got. You're never going to lose anything. And I think if you don't achieve a goal, but you've given everything you can, well, you can't really be that mad. Like if you lose a game to another team and they just outplay you or they're better, obviously you don't like to lose. But if you did everything you possibly could to win the game or be successful or beat the competition, and they still beat you, sometimes you just got to tip your hat and say good game. Like so.
So you had said something. We were talking one day. You said, I made a decision that I wanted to be valuable to the team. So I wanted to be the best teammate that I could be. Like, can you explain that thought process and what you did to achieve that?
Yeah, well, I think Sean, I don't know if I've actually told you this, but I signed a contract with myself a while back that I'm gonna find a way to add value to whatever team I'm a part of, whether it's Family First Life team, whether it's any other company, whether it's my wife, whether it's my son, whether it was Michigan, whether it's wherever I am, I'm going to find a way to add value. I'm going to find a way to contribute something. I may not be the team captain, may not be the CEO, may not be the most important person, but if I can find a way to contribute, that's going to raise the standard of the whole team, right? If I'm just going to find a way to add some value, maybe it's a lot of value, maybe it's not so much, maybe it's a little bit. But if I'm going to find a way to add value, find a way to contribute, if I do that, if I have that mindset for long enough, it's going to make a positive impact. And I think really for those of us that are parts of teams, which I assume is most people, that's really all that we can do. We can fill our role to the best of our ability. No one person can guarantee the team's going to win. We can't. All we can do is increase the probability of success, right? That's all we can do. And if any one of us bringing our best is going to increase the probability of the team winning, of the team succeeding, why wouldn't we do that? And maybe one person, us as individuals, we can't make the team. We can't make the team. We can't. You can't make. I know you're the leader of Family First, but you can't make the team. Other people have to fill their roles too. But one person can break a team, be negative, bring the whole team down, bring negative energy, like just. That's very doable. It happens all the time. I think we all know those people, those cancerous people that just bring the whole culture down. So why wouldn't we just choose to be that person that adds value, that finds a way to contribute? And I think if we find a way to contribute, whether it's big or small, it's going to make other members of the team want to do the same thing too. Maybe other people on our team are not having a good day. Maybe they're having a tough week. But if they see us bringing it, they obviously, even especially if we're dealing with stuff, if they know that we're dealing with stuff outside of work and life in general, but they see us still bringing it for the team, man, if this guy can do it, if this girl can do it, why can't I? right? So we can all lead by example. We can all lead by example every day of the week. So,
man, you talked about, loading bags up on the bus and, being there to rebound, do all things you need to do within your capacity to make it a great team, which is why, you'll always be successful and the people around you are humbled to be with you. Austin, when you look at where you are now, I'm curious for me, what's your aspirations now business-wise? So you've gone through a lot, amazing husband, amazing father. What are your aspirations now from a business standpoint? What are you building now? What are you looking to do?
Yeah. So Overcoming LLC, our goal is to help, to inspire and help as many people overcome their challenges as possible. We don't have a specific number. Maybe I should. What do they say? Smart goals, right? Specific and measurable. I think that maybe we set the goal of inspiring 1 million people or whatever. We're on our way. And my goal is just to like I said, whatever team I'm a part of, I want to inspire as many people as I can. And as I was saying before, with finding a way to contribute, finding a way to add value, I want to contribute and add value to every organization that I ever work with. If I go to an organization and this, that presentation didn't add any value, that hasn't happened yet, and not I ever wanted to. My goal is to always have people hear my presentations. Yeah, that definitely added the kind of value, and in fact, that added more value than what we were looking for. And so I think that if like I said before, obviously, I'm sure you have goals, you have metrics, you have numbers you want to hit. It's obviously great, and our businesses are slightly different, but business is business, right? At the end of the day. And I'm just kind of, if I just add value to every person I work with, every organization I work with, we're going to achieve our goals. And I'd love to say I would love to. I'd love to, work with, inspire 1 million people. I don't really know how to count that. I can't count every audience, but like maybe I need to speak at more meetings like yours where there's 16 or 18,000, maybe. Speak at need to speak at. Yeah, about 50 of those, and I'll be on my way. So
it all adds up, Austin. First of all, again, I say this, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Austin's one hell of a speaker, and if you're looking to add some people, small group, big group, whatever you want to contact him. Austin, how do people get in contact with you? They want to work with Overcome. How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, you can go on my website, austin-hatch.com. There's a tab, just like a contact form. You can submit an inquiry about and I'll get an email from you. Just submit your email, your name, your company, what you're looking to have me do, where you want me to speak, and I'll get back to you directly from me. I'll personally reach out to you, and we'd love to have a conversation about speaking to your team sometime, later this year, but probably 2024. This is probably a more realistic thing. Would love to do that. Would love to speak to anybody's team who's listening, anybody who's listening who leads a team of people that could use some inspiration. If anyone's listening and their team doesn't need to be inspired at all, their team is totally upbeat, totally fired up every single day, ready to go. If that's your team, don't hire me because I'd probably be a waste of your money. But if your team could use a little inspiration and a little perspective, a little motivation, I'd be honored and grateful for an opportunity.
Well, Austin, I wholeheartedly endorse you and what you're doing. It's helped us tremendously. You've helped me tremendously. So I really appreciate you jumping on, punching me in the face. And guys, go check him out. Go to his website, pass the word, share this, subscribe, like, comment on it. But Austin Hatch, you're a stud, dude. You are a role model for all of us in perseverance and overcoming. So thanks for jumping on today, brother.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, Sean. Great to be with you again. Look forward to getting together soon.
We will, man. Take care of yourself. Guys, have a great day. Thanks for your time.
Take care, everybody.